And thank you for joining our webinar today. My name is Georgi. As always, the least interesting person for you during the subject webinars, because we have many esteemed guests who will present to you their unique study programs, and you have a unique opportunity, dear attendees, to ask your questions directly to the representatives of the programs and get the best possible answers, because it's obvious that they know the best and the most about their given study program. So, dear attendees, for those who are new to the webinar setting of Zoom, just a quick update on that. So you can see the Q&A button just next to the chat button. So this is the main communication line between you and us. If you wish, it is already open. You can send in your questions there, any questions that you have, ideally relevant questions, to the Q&A, and then they will be answered either in the written form or live by one of our guests. So we will have a live Q&A session after the presentations are done. So in around 45 minutes, we'll have a live Q&A session, I would say. So stay tuned, and then your questions will be answered. Also keep an eye on the chat, because there will be sending some also links or some other additional information for you. So let me start with a very short presentation from my side, and then we'll move to our guests. So agenda for today, we have guests from 3 German universities, so Ruhr University Bochum, University Rostock, and University of Ulm. Professor Dr. Martin Hoffmann will be the first presenter. He will talk about master's program in lasers and photonics. Then we'll move to Dr. Michael Schutt, and he will talk about Master of Science level program also, but in electrical engineering. And then we are moving to Gloria Gessinger from University of Ulm, and she will introduce to you the study program, also Master of Science level program in quantum engineering. Very smart topics, so that's why I will not talk too much with my stuff. Okay, so who is behind today's webinar? To put it simply and shortly, it is my German university. And if you have ever tried to Google, for example, studying in English in Germany, then our name will definitely, hopefully, pop up there. So we are Germany's largest database when it comes to English study programs. We have over 2,800 degree programs listed in our database, which are at least mostly taught in English, both on bachelor level and also on master's level. And our main goal is to help those students who would like to pursue a degree in Germany. How we do that? 3 key ways. First one is our study finder. You can see the small version of our study finder now on your screens, but when you go to My German University and you click on a study finder section, you will be able to see all of the filters of study finder. You can find programs according to location, according to the discipline, according to tuition fees, according to your English test results even, and much more. So there are many more filters you can use and make your search for the program much more time efficient, so to say. The second way of helping you is through writing articles. We have over 150 comprehensive articles on various topics regarding studying in Germany. It can be, for example, if you're coming from India, China, Vietnam, you need APS certificate. We have article on that. You need more information about international national rankings. We have articles on that, on blocked account, on letter of motivation writing, and so on and so forth. Various articles, all for free. I kindly invite you to take a look at them. And last but not least, we also organize around 150 webinars per year on different topics. It can be general webinars where we are alone and we talk to you about general topics like scholarships, like visa, like Uni Assist, and so on and so forth. Or the subject webinars like you're attending right now, but on different subjects, of course. It can be studying mechanical engineering in Germany, studying political science in Germany, studying computer science in Germany, and so on and so forth. All of the webinars that are already planned, you can sign up for these webinars for free, and of course, attend them also for free. We are based in northern Germany, in Hamburg, and also not only there, our team is spread throughout Germany and also around the world. That's why we are counseling in different languages. So when you want to find programs in English, as I said, or at least most in English, then our study finder should definitely be your stop. For example, when you're searching for the programs in the discipline related to electrical engineering, you will find numerous programs there, and you can see on bachelor and master's level, and most of them are in English only, which means that you do not need any knowledge of German to get into those programs, and in most cases to successfully complete them. For those who do not know what to expect when it comes to studying let's say, electrical engineering or related study disciplines in Germany. We also have various subject pages which you can visit and find some general information to create for yourself a bigger picture of, for example, what are the rankings of universities that are offering programs in these directions, what are tuition fee ranges that you should budget for, what are the different application requirements, admission requirements, and so on and so forth. This is a very nice first step for you to create a bigger picture for yourself. Also, our suggestion is when you're trying to find the relevant and fitting program, university profile and study program for yourself, don't be guided by sole aspects only, but only, for example, finding programs according to the fees, according to rankings, or according to city names. You have to combine this all together and go much further, for example, to include your personal interests, your aspirations, and your backgrounds. And by doing that, you will significantly increase the chances of making an informed decision when choosing the right program, which is of utmost importance. Also, in Germany, there are two key types of universities. One is called Universität type of university, or just university in Germany, and the second one is called University of Applied Sciences. In German, it has some variations in namings. For example, Hochschule, Fachhochschule are some of those variations. The key and on general level, the key difference between them is that when we talk about Universität type of university, we are more talking about research and theory. And in case of the University of Applied Sciences, generally, we are more onto application and practice. And last but not least, when you're searching for the programs through our study finder, be a little bit flexible with wordings so that you can see all the opportunities that Germany is able to offer you. So yeah, some programs might be very similar to each other, but with a little bit different wording so that you don't miss them out. Be a bit flexible, and keep in mind that when you ask universal questions regarding study programs, universal answers cannot be provided because all programs are very specific. They have different fees, for example, different admission modes, different deadlines, and so on and so forth. That's why you have to work with each program individually to find out what are their requirements and what is the procedure with them in general. All right. That being said, I will stop here with my part, and I will move now to Ruhr University Bochum, more towards the center from Hamburg moving. And it's Professor Dr. Martin Hoffmann, and he will now introduce to you the study program Master of Science in Lasers and Photonics.
And I would like to advertise our master course in Lasers and Photonics. Here you have a view on our university campus, which unifies all faculties on one campus, which is a big advantage for interdisciplinary research. Just to give you an idea what I will talk about in the next few minutes, I will give you some impressions of our location and on the structure of the master program. And then you get some information about the application procedure and the support we give during the studies. So for the first impressions, you have seen the location of Bochum already, and I'd like to point out that our location is quite central in Europe, so you have close distance to the major capitals, 2 hours to the coastline in the Netherlands, and we are at the border of a big metropolitan area, the so-called Ruhr area, and you have many cultural activities going on in this area. Our campus is a rather large campus with about 40,000 students and all faculties on one campus. That makes it interdisciplinary and also international. And the university is the biggest employer in our city, and that determines the life here. And we have an own subway line connecting the city center and the university. The teaching covers the main areas in lasers and photonics and fundamental optics, and also some quantum mechanics. So it's a bit like physics orientated with a research focus. And then you have the chance to do an individual program in the elective part, which covers many areas, including ultra-fast laser processes, laser materials processing, optoelectronics, biomedical optics, and many more. The course program is basically done by these three people you see here, myself, Professor Clara Saraceno, and Professor Ostendorf. And just recently, two new professors have joined and give their contribution to this broad program in anything you could imagine in lasers and photonics. So among these topical areas, we also train some core skills, like we have practical courses to make you familiar with the optical tools and the things you have to handle in the lab. We have some fundamental programming, and we also train scientific English for producing scientific publications like papers or posters. In addition, we offer language courses, for example, German, and they can be acknowledged within the master program. So they're not mandatory, but you can elect them and acknowledge them in your transcript. Then for the practical work, we have many different lab projects in our modern laser labs. We have small groups. In total, we have roughly 10 to 15 students per semester, and the practical courses are done in only groups of 2 students per supervisor in the lab. So you get really individual support and get a close look into the different topics. So some other interesting aspect is, what can you do after you have graduated successfully? Our graduates have excellent career perspectives. So you can directly start in research doing a PhD program, or you can go to industry in Germany. And just for example, here are some employers of our graduates. So many of them stay here with us for doing a PhD, or go to other research institutions like Fraunhofer Institutes or other universities. And about half of the graduates also leave us for jobs in industry, and many already do their master thesis in industrial environment. So there are many options to design your individual future career. Just a short look on the structure of the master's program. So we have a 4-semester course. In the first 2 semesters, the main part is the mandatory modules, but they are accompanied by elective modules, which take over then in the 3rd semester, where you have just free choice among many different elective courses. And in the regular program, then you have the master thesis in the 4th semester before you graduate. So this is just to give you an idea how the final grade comes up. It's composed of the mandatory modules and the so-called mandatory elective courses, which are courses you select, but they are graded in the end. And final contribution is by the master thesis. And about 22 out of the total 120 credits do not get a grade, so you just have to pass these courses in the practical subject areas and in the free elective modules. As said before, that could be, for example, a language course in German. All right, so for the exam regulations, just the formal stuff, the lectures are all offered once a year, and the exams are offered in each semester. So you can proceed well, even if you have a problem with one examination, you can easily repeat it within half a year. So the regular study time is usually 4 semesters or 2 years, and an extension is possible, but not really usual. And finally, the graduation is when you have all 120 credits complete. I should mention that you can not only start in winter semester, but also in the summer semester. The curriculum is designed in a way that this is possible without major problems. Then I would like to pass over to Navina, who tells you a little bit about the application and support you receive while you study and even before.
Yes, hello. So yeah, as already mentioned, I'm now doing the second part. I'm also working at Ruhr-University Bochum, and I'm the study advisor for the program Lasers and Photonics. And before I became the study advisor, I studied lasers and photonics myself. So I do know a lot about the program because I've been through this. So in case you have some questions, yeah, I think I'm a good person to ask. First of all, regarding the application, you've already heard that we have two possibilities to apply every year. And the first one for this year will be up very soon, as you can see, on the 15th of April. And we have two different deadlines. So one deadline is from the 15th of April to the 30th of May. This is for all of our international applicants. Because usually you will require quite a while until you get your visa. And for EU citizens, it's open for a longer period of time until the 15th of July, but the opening day is the same as the 15th of April. When you want to apply for our program, you have to apply via our application portal. This is the link that you can see up there. And yeah, this is the only possibility to get into our program, to apply via this portal. So no application via any other website is possible, and also no application via email. So when you're interested, then it's good to note down that link. You can also find that link on our website. Generally, we have a very large support team that is helping you not only with the application, but also then when, in case you get an admission, to help you, give you some advice for until you get your visa, for example, to clarify organizational matters. So every student who is admitted will get a personal tutor that can help you and support you for getting accommodation at our university, and yeah, give you advice, especially for applying with the visa. You have me as a student advisor, where you can ask questions not only during the time before you start your studies, but especially when you do your studies and questions arise. So there is always the possibility for an individual counseling. And also you have some further support by the international office from our university. So there are some preparation webinars. So before you come here, to give you already some information about financing, and also about visa accommodation, all this stuff that is important for you to know. Then there is a welcome week, usually in the first weeks of the semester, also every summer semester and every winter semester, so you don't miss anything out when you arrive in summer semester. And they also organize some excursions during the semester, so you can see some of the cultural offers and exciting things outside. Yeah. Then you probably ask yourself the question, yeah, am I eligible to apply? So you can apply for our master program when you have had at least 6 semesters of university studies and a bachelor degree in electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, physics, or similar. So in case you have something that doesn't count to the other 3, but you are still interested, you can still apply, and might be then you have the good qualifications to get a place. Generally, what is also required is English skills in the B2 level. We are very strict here, so only we accept only the following 3 certificates: IELTS, academic, TOEFL, IBT, or UNICEF 2, with a minimum, as you can see here, of points. And we don't accept any other language certificate. So even if you've done your whole studies in English, this won't be accepted. So you need to have one of the 3 certificates. But you don't need any German skills. So everything is in English, the teaching is in English, no German skills are required. The documents you have to hand in for applications are your transcript of records, your bachelor degree certificate, and this proof of English language proficiency. And if you come from China, Vietnam, or India, you also need an APS certificate. These are mandatory, but you can also put in further documents like a CV, letters of recommendation, motivation letter, rank certificate, confirmation of scholarship, or anything else that you have that you might think it's interesting for us to read. Yeah. And regarding financing, yeah, you have to take care of financing your studies on your own. We cannot include financial support for you. Of course, there is a possibility to apply for a scholarship, but this has to be done independent of the application and also of the admission of a study place. So, for example, the AAD gives or provides a lot of scholarships, but this is usually dependent on your origin, of your country of origin. And of course, when you're here, you can get student jobs and finance your study by working part-time during your studies. Here we give you an overview about the costs that you have to expect. So first, it's very important you do not have to pay any tuition fees, but you have to pay a social contribution every semester. The amount is changing slightly every semester. So currently it's 325 euros, but here included is a Deutschland-Ticket, which is a ticket for public transport through Germany. And then you also have the rent and daily life expenses, what you can see here on the right side in the table. So the largest part will be the rent and the food that you have to pay, and the rest is a bit lower. And of course, the health insurance. So every student in German has to have a health insurance, which here is about 110 euros per month. So all the costs that you can see here in the table are monthly costs. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going shortly to the support and advice. So as I already said, once you're admitted, every student will get a personal tutor, which helps you primarily with finding accommodation here in Bochum and also gives you advice on the visa application. We do not have a direct influence on the visa application itself, but we already have a lot of experience what problems may arise and can help you there. And maybe it's also calming when you know that you're not the only person having problems with getting your visa. And then also you have to be before you start your studies, you have to participate in a mandatory counseling talk. This is a talk that I'm doing with you. So I'm giving you then an overview about the courses that you will attend in the first semester. I will also give you help for the enrollment process. And we can then clarify all other organizational questions in this talk so that hopefully by the time that you arrive here in Germany, all questions are already answered and you can just come here. Yeah, that's it. So I'm looking forward to the questions that you will get later in the question and answer questions. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor, and thank you very much, Navina, for your presentations. And let us now move forward with our next guest. So let's move now back to the north, University of Rostock, Electrical Engineering Master's Program. Dr. Michael Stütt will talk about that now.
Yeah, welcome here from the University of Rostock. Today, I was asked to introduce our master's program of electrical engineering here in Rostock. And my name is Michael Stütt. I was born and raised here in Rostock, actually. I've been part of many international programs myself, had exchanges in the US and in Ireland and also in New Zealand myself. And now I'm a postdoc and the head of controls here at the chair of power electronics and electrical drives. And I'm also a co-founder of the company RKL. So I believe I should have a unique view, at least on our program, that should fit in quite well to today's procedures. So as a former exchange student myself, I think, in my estimation at least, the key parameters for satisfying and successful stay abroad are really of the academic nature. So what did I learn? What quality of knowledge did I gain? And what's the applicability into industry? And also, of course, very important, also, I always thought, is the personal experience itself. So how good is the cultural exchange? How's your recreational experience here? Do you find friends and stuff like this? And I believe Rostock and our master's program provides all of the above at a very high quality, but let's try to explore this together here. We are offering the specialization. So we have this master's program of electrical engineering, and we have two specializations. One is in information technology, and the other one is in power engineering. I myself am working in power electronics, and to maybe have the full authentic experience, I will more focus on Rostock and power electronics today, but rest assured that our counterpart definitely mirrors the shown content on their end. But for instance, our chair, we provide a little video for today. It's not super high quality, but I hope it fits well for today. And it's prepared by our chair. My colleague Vishwas, he's from India. He's the narrator and the host of the video. So let's have a look at it. And I hope the sound works. If you don't hear it, maybe someone of the others can give me a thumb down.
Greetings, I am Vishwas. I am a PhD student at the University of Rostock. It is my pleasure today to introduce you to Rostock and the degree program here. The Hanseatic city of Rostock lies at the lovely Baltic coast, making it not only a buzzing tourist favorite, but also a bustling city of great economic significance in the region. Low living costs and year-round extracurricular, cultural and sport offerings make this city an exciting city to live in, study and also to work.
Welcome to the University of Rostock and the Institute of Electrical Power Engineering. My name is Hans-Günther Eckel. I'm a full professor for power electronics and electrical drives and head of this institute. At the Institute of Electrical Power Engineering, we work on the integration of renewables in the grid, on high voltage engineering, on power semiconductors, on HVDC and converter control. The results of these cutting-edge research activities go directly into our International Master Electrical Engineering. This 2 years master course allows a specialization on power engineering. We offer more than 10 courses exclusively on electrical power engineering, including power electronics, grid control, high voltage engineering, electric machines, power semiconductors, microcontroller programming. All these courses are taught in English. I welcome you to go through the homepage of our institute and encourage you to apply for this Master Electrical Engineering in Rostock.
Let's now go into the details of the master's degree program. This degree program is offered completely in English with zero tuition fees. It is a high quality research oriented curriculum which also offers flexibility in the choice of courses towards completing the degree program. Here's a typical scheme of study for this master's degree program. A large number of courses are offered in the field of power electronics and electrical drives, electrical energy supply, and additional courses are offered in high voltage and current systems and also modern wind energy turbines. This degree program also consists of a substantial research component. And now let's head to the power electronics lab. Welcome to the power electronics laboratory. In our laboratory, we test and characterize different kinds of IGBTs. For example, this is a 6.5 kV IGBT in IHV housing. We typically need 6 of these in a 3-phase inverter, for example, traction inverter. And here we also see, for example, a gate driver which we have developed in-house. We develop such gate drivers to reduce switching losses, for example, and also for short circuit detection and protection of the IGBT module. Here is a typically set up test bench where we routinely test the switching behavior of the device and determine the losses during the turn on and turn off by double pulse tests. And also we also check the short circuit behavior of the device, whether it's short circuit robust or not, and what can be done to improve these aspects. I carry out turn-off measurements on IGBT with the desaturation pulse. The objective is to reduce the turn-off energy losses of the device through this special technique called the desaturation technique during the turn-off of the IGBT. Now let me introduce you to some of my other colleagues at the institute.
Hey, I'm Gyanendra. When I was a master's student here, I got a perfect opportunity to work as a student job under a PhD student. And with the help of PhD student and another student job colleague, we developed this test bench, which is a grid connected inverter, and we did a lot of cool stuff to find the dynamics of the converters like Bode plot and dynamic stiffness. And after completing my master's, I got again the opportunity to work as a PhD student under this chair. And at present, I'm working on the MMC converter control, which is quite funny, and the team is awesome.
Hi, I am 𝘱𝘢𝘓𝘕 and I am working as Scientific Research Associate at University of Rostock. And before my work here, I have studied my master's at University of Rostock in the same chair, which is Electrical Energy Supply. And now I am doing my PhD or working as a research associate here. So my main research topic is grid forming control, and for this research I am using the real-time simulators, hardware wind turbines, and the grid simulator. So the real-time simulators are the future real-time equipment to simulate the grid models or power system equipment, and with the hardware we can validate our simulations or the controller designs. With the grid simulators, we can isolate this hardware equipment to the main grid, such that if we do some analysis here, it can be isolated from the grid by using the grid simulator.
Thank you for watching this video. I and my colleagues would be delighted to see you here in Rostock.
Okay. Okay, let's digest the shown content by the mentioned criteria from before. Yeah, and I was a little bit hesitant myself. How do we evaluate academic validity? And I'd say a few results might speak for themselves. And I originally prepared some numbers, like what companies we work with, and hopefully you heard some of these names and what kind of funding, for instance, our chair makes and how many papers and whatnot. But when writing down these numbers, I felt like without actual context and the feeling of it, when you already work in the field, they don't really present themselves as usable or applicable data to a student. So I wanted to take this as a short break and maybe shift a little bit more into an anecdotal kind of way to describe this. I know this is not really the academic way to do so. It's very much the opposite, but I try to give you a feeling of it, what at least our chair can provide. Let's look at our chair specifically because it's the easiest for me. We teach power electronics, I would say, on a level that maybe a handful or two in Germany teach. We know this because we know every single one of them. We actually like in a colloquium, so to speak. That doesn't necessarily say that we're the best. I don't never want to say this, but I will say though that on the big European conferences of power electronics, we commonly are one of the most represented chair, if not the biggest. You can go back to the EPE 2023, for instance. That's our biggest power electronics or most important power electronics conference in Europe, and you can see it for yourself. I would put personally our chair in one of the top tier category on the European level. And this work directly reflects into our courses as well. So the applicability to industry is also very, very high. Since we work on all our projects, we work with industry or virtually all of our projects, and our students or our good students, I would say, that is closely associated with us with student jobs and their master theses. And also, of course, our PhDs, when they leave us, they almost immediately get a job in that kind of industry, and they're usually on track to become leaders in these companies. Many of my former colleagues are definitely upcoming leaders at companies in power electronics like Infineon, Siemens, and in the wind industry also, because this is up here in the north, we have a lot of wind. So also Siemens Gamesa, Enerconautics, and what have you.
Dr. Ŝyt, sorry for intervening. Are you sharing anything? Because we couldn't
No,
see.
no.
Okay, sorry.
I pressed the PowerPoint dot button to black it out on purpose, because I wanted just to have this kind of describing it. Now, here are some just bullet points. One more time, just some of the advantages that might have been mentioned in the video. Similar to most universities in Germany, we are tuition free. That's not totally correct, as the Bochum people also said. There is this 200 to 300 euros a semester. I think at the moment it's 250, but there's mostly the student ticket included, which is for us also starting the semester a Deutschland ticket, so it's public transportation all over the country. We start our master's program with roughly 20 to 30 English-speaking students, and we have similar numbers for Germans. And therefore, we also provide a really good ratio of students to supervisors. Our chair alone, we're roughly 20 to 30 PhD students. We alone can provide a 1-to-1 ratio for supervision during master theses, so can also ensure a high quality of supervision. And due to our industry projects, our labs are also really up to your industry standards, if not above. In some cases, we have to develop the new stuff, so that's always good, of course. Okay, but that's the academic side of things, but let's talk also about Rostock as the city of beauty, I would say. That's the second part, the personal experience. And Rostock really is a beautiful city, I would say. We live at the Baltic Sea, which is a prime area for sailing, wind and kite surfing. There are countless sports activities definitely at the university. For instance, I play ice hockey here at the university. The area in general is great for cycling, hiking, and whatever comes to mind. The city of Rostock is really in a touristic area, and we pride ourselves to live where others want to travel to. At the same time, it's very affordable. I don't know if that's not the same in many countries where you like to travel. It's usually expensive, but here we're in the east part of Germany, so the living costs are quite low. So housing and food, I saw the Bochum numbers. I would think we're maybe 70% of that. So Rostock is quite affordable. Also, Rostock is a really old city, or maybe a nice way to say it is a historic city. It's roughly 800 years old, and our university is roughly 600 years old, which is the oldest city in the oldest university in the Baltic area. So we have a really long history that you could discover when you're here. But at the same time, maybe that's more interesting to you guys, Rostock is also a really young city. It's a big city maybe in relation to the touristic area of Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, which is the county here, but it still has rather small town feeling, as the city is quite spread out along the river, the Warnow, and in the city center where the university is situated, the ratio of young students is really quite high, and the city feels very young and vibrant, and so as a consequence, there's an abundance of happenings for students all the time. In electrical engineering, you also will find yourself among many international and national students, peers, and colleagues from all walks of life. These are just some of my colleagues at our institute, by the way. And that's 50 minutes. So with that, I want to end it and want to invite you to come and see for yourself. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dr. Ŝyt, for your presentation and for a very nice video too. With that, let us now move to our last speaker for today. We are moving to Ulm University, to the very south of Germany, quantum engineering, a master's program, and Gloria Gessinger will talk about it right now. Please, Gloria.
Thank you very much. Let me just share my screen. And okay. Here we go. Oops. Okay, thank you for having me, and welcome to everybody listening. I'm Gloria Gessinger, the coordinator of the International Master's Program Quantum Engineering in Ulm at Ulm University. And I'm really happy to present this master program, which is brand new. It just started last semester. And so the current students are the first ones to finish this really innovative study program. Why do I say innovative? Because you are all here because you're interested in electrical engineering, and I would like you to consider combining it with quantum physics. So you could study quantum engineering, and we have this interdisciplinary master's program that is a cooperation between our physics and our engineering department. Just some basics. It's an international physics program together with the engineering department, and the duration is 4 semesters. In total, you're finished after 2 years and you reach 120 ECTS, and it's a full-time program. The basic structure of the program looks like this. So you are being trained both in quantum physics as well as in electrical engineering. And since you either studied one of the two in your bachelor's, you will have an adaptation at the beginning of your studies so that you will learn also the other topics. And then you can see we have a lot of interdisciplinary aspects for these topics. And probably most important for you, before I get into more detail on the content, is who can apply. And we want students to apply from physics undergraduates as well as electrical engineering, but also nanotechnology, quantum technology, and aerospace engineering students are very welcome to join us in our program. We accept students with grades better than 2.7. And please be careful, this is the German system. So if you have a GPA, you must convert it into the German system to know if you can study at our university. Our English requirement is a bit lower, so we only require students to have a B1 English, and you can prove it with all the commonly known certificates. And then lastly, we also have admission interviews. So this is not because, this is just because we want to get to know you better during the admission process and also give you the opportunity to meet us and talk about your motivation, why you would like to come to join us at Ulm. And then a few more solid admission criteria is that you have to had 15 credit points in math. So you can see if you are not from the European Union, then your credit system might be different. Then again, you have to kind of translate it into the European system to see if you fulfill the requirements. And then we have a total of 100 credit points in physics and electrical engineering together. So if you are a physicist, it's fine if you just have 100 credit points in physics. If you're an electrical engineer, you can have 100 in electrical engineering. Or if in your undergraduate program you had both, then just 100 credit points. And we also require you to have done some scientific work. So this can either be a final thesis or a scientific publication with at least 10 credit points. Good. So if you fulfill all of our admission requirements, you might ask yourself, why should I come to Ulm University? Contrary to what we've heard, Ulm University is a rather young university, but still it's already under the top 193 universities worldwide, and as a student ranking. So when you ask students, it's at the top 10 of the German universities. So students really like to come. Like to study in Ulm once they are here. We also have some excellence clusters, for instance, in battery technology. And within the last couple of years, we have strongly focused on quantum technologies as a developmental strategy for Ulm University. So a lot of the things that we are doing at Ulm University is to improve our quantum technology knowledge. So the research focus is quantum technology, and we cover all the basic quantum technologies like quantum computing, quantum simulation, quantum communication, and quantum metrology. We also have the Center for Integrated Quantum Science and Technology, which is a cooperation between Stuttgart and Ulm. And here, for instance, at Ulm University, we have the Center for Quantum Bioscience. And this is a really cool center, and it has a lot of collaboration. So you as a student will also benefit from the huge network. Just to show some names, as people have done before. So we collaborate with different universities and research centers. And you might know the 𝘸𝘪, this is the German aerospace department. Then we have industry partners, and we have a lot of startups that we collaborate with and that have also developed from the university and from the institutes at the university. Lately, there was another center established as a collaboration between Jena, Stuttgart, and Ulm about quantum photonics. And this is only to name some, but we also have the Center for Quantum Bioscience at Ulm University. And actually one of the leaders of our study program, Professor Dr. 𝘱𝘢𝘳𝘵 𝘱𝘢 also works in this quantum bioscience program and is happy to welcome students to work together with them. And the other leader of our program, Professor Dr. Klaus Paxmeier, works in the 𝘸𝘪 in the Aerospace Institute. So he also welcomes students to this department. So this is really nice. And similar as we have seen from Bochum, at Ulm University, we also have a so-called Science City. So everything that I just showed you is located within walking distance. So you have the university as well as a lot of startups, research institutes, everything on top of a beautiful hill at Ulm. And if you come here, you study at a quantum technology hotspot in southern Germany. And another thing that is really cool about this is that you have both research and application, and everything is really close together. So you can actually have, we can actually see how fundamental research can help develop new technologies. So why should you study quantum engineering as an electrical engineer? Well, if you are interested in one of these subjects like open quantum systems or quantum sensing 1 and 2, or quantum computing, as well as optical communication, theory of quantum information, and advanced quantum engineering, then our program is really nice for you because then we meet your interest. Also, the structure of our program is very straightforward. During the first year, you have lectures, and you have a lot of different quantum lectures to choose from. Be sure there are more lectures available than you will ever be able to study because there's so many. So you can really pick from the full. And then in your second year, the second year is research focused. So you will do projects and internships, and everything is finished by a full-length 6 months master thesis. And for you to better see how the program is structured, I have the study plan. So there's only very few compulsory courses. So we have an interdisciplinary lecture with the interdisciplinary aspects of quantum technologies. Then we have a seminar on quantum engineering and a research project, as well as the master thesis. Those are the only real compulsory courses. In all other areas, you can freely choose which lectures you would like to take. One really nice thing, since it's an interdisciplinary study program, is the adaptation area. So as I mentioned earlier, you might come from a physics background and have not studied a lot of electrical engineering. Then you can pick adaptation modules that will improve your skills in the electrical engineering area. Or if you are an electrical engineer, you might not have done a lot of physics, so you can take adaptation modules in physics. And while you study in your adaptation area, you might already start with your specialization in the area you are already familiar with. We don't really have like a specialty per se, so you have to do both quantum physics and electrical engineering to finish a quantum engineering master, but within these areas, there are many different lectures to pick from. Also, if you are interested in more mobility, so for instance, you would like to do a thesis somewhere abroad, in the third semester, we have a mobility window, so you could go to a different country, to a different university, to a research center and do it there. You don't need to, because we also have everything you need here, but the possibility is there for you. You also have to do a little bit outside of your subject. So we call it additional qualifications. And I always say, for instance, it's nice to learn German, so you could take 2 German classes, but there's also classes like scientific writing or programming in LaTeX. So there are a lot of possibilities that you can pick from. Just for those who are interested, here's a list of our current quantum physics lectures. So you have to take 18 credits and you see there's plenty. So they are evenly distributed over summer and winter semester. So whichever semester you start, you can just pick the lectures you're most interested in and study them. Equally, in the electrical engineering department, we have identified plenty lectures that fit well into a quantum engineering study program. Okay, and then we also have some support. So we have, for our international students, we have senior students who pick them up from the train station and bring them to their housing. We make the whole housing arrangement. So if you decide to come to Ulm University, you don't have to worry about finding housing. We will do that for you. Then you will have individual study counseling. That's usually with me. So we can look at your study program, at your study plan, and then decide which lectures would you like to take and when, to make sure that you can finish within the planned time. We have a very direct contact with a professor. So our program is small. We have less than 10 students usually. And so every student will get to know the professors very well. And it's just really easy to get in contact and also easy to do internships because, yeah, everybody is very happy that you are here and that you are participating in our program. Yeah, exactly. And I think with this, I am finished and I'm looking forward to your questions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Gloria. And yes, let us now jump into the Q&A section. All right, let me ask you a couple of questions. Actually, let me start with this one. So as it was mentioned already, this topic of internships, etc., there was a question: do you support students in enriching their practical experience through internships or so? So do you help students in finding those internships or helping them out with these procedures and etc., etc.? Let me ask this question to everyone, but let me start with you, Gloria.
Yes, we do help students to find internships. It's rather easy because we have so many collaborations with other institutes. So usually it's the professors who have the connections, and when they get to know the students during the lecture, then you can just talk with them. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. And in case of Bochum?
Yeah, actually, we don't give active support for looking for internships, but our experience is that students are very self-organized and find places, and then we support. So we have a big support, but we don't actively push them into internships.
Mm-hmm. Clear, thank you. And Dr. should already address this question also, right? Would you like to reiterate?
Yeah, I might add, or I reiterate. So we have 2 compulsory things that can be used for this also, and to get credit points, we have something that called specialization module. I think Ulm had something similar that you can use as an internship already. And of course, we have many partners where you can go to. And also the same goes for master thesis. That's not a problem. I think that goes for all 3 of us. Do we help them? Yes, we give references, but I think maybe a little bit similar to Professor Hoffmann. We don't have like a a support group or something that helps you, but it should be rather easy to get into this.
Mhm.
Maybe as a little side mark, not a lot of companies are good at this. So if you want internships, you should rather definitely talk to people that know these companies well, rather when you look for yourself. Most of the time, our experience is not so good.
Okay. Thank you also for noting that out. Gloria, would you like to add something?
Yes, I wanted to make a correction because our English requirement, I said something wrong earlier. It's B2. So that's what I
okay.
meant with it's a bit less. Yeah. So just for
I
everybody
also
to know.
surprised, to be honest, that it was
Yeah.
B1, but yeah, thanks for
No, it's
pointing
B2,
it
and I
out.
actually have
Okay.
a slide that states all the tests. I just didn't
Okay.
show it. So
Great,
sorry about
great.
the confusion.
No worries. Thank you. So it's B2, dear attendees.
Yeah.
You have to have this at least this level. All right. So now application question more about the application. So after applying, how soon will students receive the application results? Sometimes visa procedures take very long. That's why I ask. Thank you. So what would you say regarding application? So after students apply and after deadline is over, do they have to wait 3 weeks, 2 months, or how does it work with you? What is your experience? Maybe let's start with Bochum.
Yeah, I can answer. I already answered also in the written form. We try to be as fast as possible because we know that this is the main issue for most of the students to get the visa. This is also why we have these deadlines, which are much earlier than the usual deadlines for all the German-speaking programs to give students more time to get the visa. And we try to be like 2 to 3 weeks is the duration after the admission, the application deadline is passed. So that would be the mid of June in the next application phase.
Okay, correct. Clear. Thank you. And in Rostock, how does it work?
So unfortunately, Mr. Bütow is not here. He could answer this more correctly, but we have this international house, and as in my cases or from the students that we have here, I would also say roughly 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay. Okay, thank you. And Gloria?
Yeah, it's the same here. So we try to do it as fast as possible, and we will also send out admissions once they are processed. So some students might hear from us a bit earlier than others. And I would say like 3 weeks usually. But also we recommend to the students when they apply to already make an appointment with the embassy, because if you don't get an admission, you may also cancel your appointment with the embassy. But if you wait for the admission, you might run into visa problems.
True, true. And let me stay with you, Gloria. Thanks for the answer. So you mentioned there was a question regarding specific GPA requirement, and you mentioned 2.7 German GPA, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So yeah, and in case of Bochum, professor answered this question also that there's no specific GPA requirement, but if you better use your GPA, better your chances to get into the program because it's quite competitive. Correct. Okay, and in case of Rostock, what would you say is the minimum GPA requirement that you expect from the students?
Unfortunately, I don't know. I know we have a list of things you have to had in your bachelor. I'm not entirely sure if there is a grade, but rather probably the same in Bochum, that better results,
Yeah.
better luck.
Okay. Let me ask you this question too, dear guest. So is it possible to do a PhD there right away? And if so, it has additional application or can be the continuation of the thesis, of the master thesis? So Professor Hoffman already addressed this question. Maybe you could reiterate it once again because you had a very interesting answer. And then I would ask others to also add on that.
Yeah, maybe I can give 2 answers. So the regular process is that after your master, usually in your master thesis, you may enter a topic that is interesting, and then a supervisor will ask you whether you would be interested in a PhD, and then it's more or less automatic transition. For really excellent students with excellent grades, there's also a possibility to have a kind of fast-track program. So you may already start a PhD program during the master program. But this is only for the 5% best students, and it has to be supported by a specific professor. You're
Sorry, how did it happen? I don't know. Thank you very much, Professor. Gloria, would you also add
Mhm.
from your side?
Yes, it's actually exactly the same. So we also have fast track possibility for PhD students, but that's really only for like the very best out of the best, so for excellent students. And then usually, so the German system is just generally you work with a professor, and if he likes the work you're doing, he is likely to want to continue studying on that topic, and then they will apply for funding for a PhD position. That's usually how it works. Alternatively, and that's also the same for all universities, so if a professor has a topic that he's interested in having research, but he doesn't have a student for it, then he will publish the topic of the PhD and students can just apply for it.
Okay, great. And in Rostock, maybe also similar, kind of?
I'm not aware of this fast track if we have it or not, but I would say we have it sort of, I would say, just as an example, we had a really, really good student. So he was a student researcher and he did all his stuff with us. And then after his master thesis, he already had so much compound work done that his PhD would just be super quick. So he would be done by 2 years. So it felt like he had a really early start. So that's why I would always encourage people who are motivated, even in the first semester, right away try to apply to a student job, and you will get much higher quality work very early on. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. And maybe last 2 questions, and then we can call it a day. Very quick question. Do you have any limitations in terms of the age of the applicants? Gloria, no? No Bochum, no Rostock. Okay, great. That was fast. And is a gate test, so let me paraphrase this question. If the students have the gate test, which is graduate aptitude test for engineers, if I remember it correctly, does it improve the chances of applications, for example, if the GPA is not that good or some other parts are not that fine-tuned? Okay, I see many no's. In Rostock,
That's this Indian standardized test, right?
I guess so, yes.
We have many Indian students. So let's say, I think officially not. But the thing is, if I'm honest, when we find out there's a good student and he might directly contact us and we find out he's engaged at a very high position, yeah, this will increase his chance to be accepted for sure. I know that this test is very good and probably the only test of this relevance anywhere on the planet. So I think yes, but not officially.
Okay, great. Thank you for unofficial information. That's also very much appreciated. All right, perfect. Thank you very much, dear guests, for your time, for your presentations, and for answering the questions. Thank you, dear attendees, for your interest and for sending out your questions. Hopefully, you'll get into your desired study program. If you have more questions to them, feel free to get in touch with them. They will clarify your doubts. If you have general questions to us regarding the visa procedures, regarding anything else like scholarships, external scholarships, or whatever, you can also get in touch with us and read our articles. And yeah, for now, thank you very much once again and have a nice rest of the day.